Before the cheers, before the trophies, before the rules, there was only survival. The earth was untamed and mankind fragile, yet fearless, rose to meet its storms. This is where sport began, not from glory, but from the simple will to live, to move, to endure. Long ago, before kingdoms and cities, tribes wandered the land. They hunted to feed their people, fought to defend their homes, and danced to honor their gods. Among them was a young hunter, Kale of the Aruva tribe. He ran faster than the wind, strong and sure as the river that raised him. But Kale dreamed beyond survival. He wondered, what if our strength could bring us together, not tear us apart? One day, Kale met a rival warrior from the neighboring Vachu tribe. Instead of fighting, he offered a challenge. Let us see who can reach the mountain's peak before the sun falls. The elders laughed. To them it was foolishness, but when Kale ran, others followed, cheering, shouting, alive. When Kale reached the summit, the Vachu warrior was right beside him. They looked at each other, neither enemies nor conquerors, just men who had given their all. And for the first time the tribes cheered together. That night the fires burned brighter, and in the silence of the stars something ancient awoke, the spirit of sport. Seasons passed. What began as a race became tradition. Tribes began testing their strength, not with swords, but with skill. They ran, they leapt, they threw, they wrestled. Each contest was more than a game. It was a language of courage, honor, and part. From the northern lands came Myra, a fierce archer with eyes sharp as the falcon's. She saw what Kale saw, that sport could unite where war had divided. Together they called for the first gathering, a day when all tribes would come to test their abilities in peace. Not everyone believed. Taran, a warlord feared across the plains, called them weak. We were born to conquer, not to play, he thundered. He swore that on the day of the gathering, he would remind the world that only blood could prove strength. But Kale and Mira held their ground. They knew that true strength was not in how hard one could strike, but in how far one could rise. The day arrived. Runners raced under the blazing sun. Archers hit moving targets. Warriors grappled in friendly battle. Laughter and cheers filled the air until chaos struck. Taran's men stormed the field. Kale stepped forward, unarmed, his voice echoing above the noise. We fight not to destroy each other, but to find what makes us stronger. The crowd fell silent. Even Taran hesitated, and so a new challenge was born, a test not of weapons, but of will. The contest was simple, a relay across the wild, through rivers, forests, and mountains. Runners from every tribe would carry the flame of honor to the great stone before sunrise. If they succeeded together, peace would stand. If not, war would return. Kale led the charge. Myra followed with her bow. Even Turan's son ran beside them, a bridge between pride and change. The journey tested their bodies, their spirits, their hearts. Some stumbled, some carried others, but no one stopped. As dawn broke, Kale fell, his legs failing, the flames slipping from his grasp. For a moment it seemed all was lost, until Turan's son caught the torch and ran, tears in his eyes, toward the rising sun. The flame touched the stone, and the world changed. Light spread across the land, tribes kneeling together, hands over hearts. No victory, no defeat, only unity. From that day on they gathered every season, not to fight, but to grow. And from their games generations would rise, runners, archers, fighters, dreamers, each one carrying the same flame, the flame of honor, the flame of sport. Thousands of years later, the spirit lives on in every stadium, every field, every court. When the whistle blows and the crowd roars, that ancient fire burns again. They called it sport, but it was never just a game. It was our story, a story of struggle, unity, and the power of the human heart. And as long as we dare to play, the flame will never die.